Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today we're diving headfirst into the world of telepathy.
Fascinating stuff.
It really is. So we're talking like pure thought transmission.
Right.
No senses involved, just mind-to-mind communication. And if you're as intrigued by this as I am, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives like this one.
Yeah, telepathy has always kind of captured the imagination, you know?
It has. It really has.
This idea that our minds could be connected in ways we don't fully understand.
It's
Really?
mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we've got a ton of sources to dig into today, like research papers, historical accounts, even some stories from folks who claim to have experienced telepathy firsthand.
A real mix.
Yeah. So where do we even begin with something as complex as telepathy?
Well, I think a good place to start is with those individuals who seem to exhibit telepathic abilities,
Right.
particularly autistic savants.
Oh, interesting.
They offer a really unique window into the potential of the human mind.
Okay, so I've heard about savants who can do incredible calculations or have these amazing memories.
Right.
But how does that connect to telepathy?
Well, it's not always about those, spectacular skills. Sometimes it manifests in more subtle ways.
Yeah.
There's a fascinating story about an autistic savant named Haley,
Okay.
Dr. Dianne Powell, who's an expert in autism.
Okay.
She shared this anecdote about Haley, who displayed remarkable telepathic abilities. Haley could accurately identify digits that a therapist was looking at.
What?
Like just random numbers
Okay.
with remarkable accuracy.
Wow.
153 out of 160 digits correctly identified.
That's pretty impressive.
It is. And what makes this case even more intriguing is that Haley's abilities seem to be stronger with people she knew well,
Really?
suggesting a possible link between telepathy and close relationships.
Oh, wow. So it's not just like a random ability. It's almost like
It's almost a...
strengthened by that connection.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Dr. Powell wanted to investigate this further.
Of course.
But, as is often the case with the research into unconventional phenomena, securing funding was a challenge.
Yeah, that seems to be a common theme, unfortunately.
It is.
But it makes you wonder what we could learn if more resources were devoted to studying these abilities.
Absolutely. Now, to move from anecdotal accounts to a more systematic study of telepathy,
Okay.
we can look at the work of Andrija Puharich,
Okay.
a prominent neurologist and researcher who dedicated much of his career to investigating psychic phenomena.
So this is someone who really took this seriously.
Very seriously. His book, Beyond Telepathy.
Ooh, I love that title.
Yeah.
It's great.
Is considered a classic in the field.
So what did Puharich discover in his research?
Well, he conducted a series of rigorous experiments
Okay.
with individuals who claimed to have psychic abilities,
Hmm.
including the renowned medium Eileen Garrett.
Oh, wow. So he was working with people who were, well known for these abilities.
Yeah, he was determined to bring scientific rigor to the study of telepathy.
Okay, so not just taking stories at face value,
No.
but actually testing these abilities.
Exactly. He used Faraday cages and other techniques
Wow.
to eliminate potential sources of error and to ensure that the results couldn't be explained away by conventional means.
So he was really trying to rule out any other possible explanations.
Absolutely.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, very thorough.
So what were some of his key findings? Did he actually find evidence to support the existence of telepathy?
Well, one of his key observations was the importance of the receiver's biological state in telepathic communication.
Oh, okay. So it's not just about mental focus. It's also about the physical state of the receiver.
It seems to be.
Interesting.
He noted that successful receivers often exhibited specific physiological changes during telepathic experiences.
Huh. So like their heart rate might change, or
Yeah, exactly.
their brain waves might show different patterns.
Exactly.
But
He even proposed this concept of psyplasma.
cytoplasma.
Yeah, a hypothetical medium through which telepathic signals might be transmitted.
Okay, so he's trying to come up with a way to explain how these signals could travel from one mind to another.
Right.
Go-
He drew parallels to the altered states of consciousness induced in practices like shamanism and yoga,
Oh, wow.
where practitioners aim to activate the psyplasma through specific techniques.
That's connecting ancient wisdom traditions with modern scientific inquiry.
Yeah, it's blurring the lines a little bit.
I like it.
Yeah.
So is there anything else that Puharich discovered in his research?
Well, he didn't shy away from exploring unconventional ideas.
Okay.
He even investigated the potential link between telepathy and fluctuations in the gravitational constant.
Whoa, hold on. Gravity and telepathy?
Yeah.
What was he thinking?
He was thinking outside the box.
Okay, I'll give him that.
He observed that telepathic activity seemed to increase during full moons.
Okay, that's pretty wild.
It is.
So it sounds like he was really pushing the boundaries of conventional thinking.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so we've got these ideas of thought vibrations being transmitted, potentially influenced by gravity.
Right.
But one of the most intriguing concepts to emerge from Puharich's work
Yes.
is the idea of telepathic networks.
Yeah.
So he wasn't just focused on one-to-one communication, but explored the possibility of larger networks of interconnected minds.
Exactly, like a network of minds all communicating with each other.
So like a telepathic internet.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Okay, I'm trying to wrap my head around this.
It is mind-boggling.
What kind of evidence did he have to support this idea of telepathic networks?
Well, he cites several examples,
Okay.
including the case of Peter Hurkos,
Okay.
a psychic who could locate hidden objects and seemed to tap into the thoughts of the person who hid them.
Really?
Yeah, it was as if he was navigating through this network of minds to find the information.
That's incredible.
It is. It suggests that we might all be swimming in this sea of consciousness,
Wow.
constantly exchanging thoughts and impressions without even realizing it.
That's a pretty profound idea.
It is. And it leads to all sorts of questions.
Yeah, like can we tap into these networks intentionally?
Exactly.
And how do they influence our perceptions and actions?
Yeah. Are we all connected in ways that we're not even aware of?
It's mind-blowing.
It really is. But now let's shift gears for a moment and hear from a rather unexpected advocate for telepathy.
Okay, who's that?
Mark Twain.
Mark Twain, the author.
The one and only.
I never knew he was into telepathy.
You might be surprised.
Yeah.
Even a skeptical mind like Twain's couldn't deny the possibility of telepathy based on his personal experiences.
Really?
He wrote about this phenomenon he called crossed letters.
Crossed letters.
Where he would frequently receive a letter from someone right after thinking about them, even if they hadn't been in contact for a while.
Oh, so like those weird coincidences where you think of someone and then they call you?
Exactly. And he believed these crossed letters were evidence of telepathic communication.
Wow, so he thought our minds might be linked in ways we don't fully comprehend.
Yeah, it's a fascinating idea.
It is. It adds another layer of mystery to this whole topic.
It does. And it shows that telepathy has intrigued people from all walks of life.
Yeah, even those known for their skepticism.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got these ideas of thought vibrations being transmitted,
Right.
potentially influenced by gravity, and even the possibility of vast telepathic networks.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here in our deep dive?
Well, to understand how telepathy might actually work,
Okay.
we can look at the theories of William Walker Atkinson,
Okay.
an influential New Thought writer and researcher who explored psychic phenomena extensively.
Okay.
His book, Telepathy, Its Theory, Facts, and Proof.
Catchy title.
It is.
Lays out some of the early attempts to explain the mechanics of mind-to-mind communication.
Yeah, he really tried to break it down.
So what were some of Atkinson's key ideas?
Well, he proposed the concept of thought vibrations as a form of energy that could be transmitted between minds.
Thought vibrations. Okay, so he's saying our thoughts have an energetic quality that can be perceived by others.
Yeah, that's the basic idea.
It's almost like our minds are constantly broadcasting and receiving signals.
It's like a radio tuned to a specific frequency.
Exactly.
And Atkinson went further, suggesting that the subconscious mind plays a crucial role in telepathic communication.
Oh, so he's saying our conscious minds might not be aware of these telepathic exchanges.
Right.
But our subconscious minds could be sending and receiving thought vibrations all the time.
Like background noise almost.
Wow, that's fascinating.
It is. It raises all sorts of questions about how our minds really work.
Yeah, and if telepathy is happening on a subconscious level, how do we even know it's real?
Right. How do we prove it scientifically?
That's the challenge, isn't it?
It is. And that's precisely the challenge that Ernest Weltmer,
Okay.
a researcher in the early 20th century, tried to address with his large-scale telepathy experiment.
A large-scale experiment. Tell me more.
He published his findings in Weltmer's magazine, detailing an experiment that involved thousands of participants.
Thousands.
Thousands.
Wow.
They all attempted to receive telepathic messages sent from a central location.
So it was like a mass telepathy test.
Exactly.
And what were the results?
Well, some participants reported receiving the messages accurately,
Really?
which is pretty remarkable considering the scale of the experiment.
Yeah.
But others received variations or different messages altogether, which made it difficult to interpret the data definitively.
So it's like trying to hear a whisper in a hurricane.
A perfect analogy.
There's so much noise and interference, it's hard to be certain of the signal.
Exactly.
Okay, so even with a large-scale experiment, it's tough to get a clear-cut answer about telepathy.
It is.
But this ambiguity is something that continues to fuel the debate about telepathy today.
Oh, absolutely.
Now let's step into a realm where the stakes are even higher.
Okay.
The world of criminal investigations.
Oh, wow.
Telepathy and crime.
Yeah.
This is getting interesting.
There's a captivating case involving Dr. Langsner,
Okay.
a psychiatrist who claimed to use telepathy in his work.
In his work.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is detailed in Martin Eben's book, True Experiences in Telepathy.
Okay.
Dr. Langsner was involved in a multiple murder case in Canada, where he claimed to receive telepathic impressions from a suspect.
Really?
Essentially seeing their memories and deducing their guilt.
So he was using telepathy as a kind of lie detector test.
You could say that.
But that opens up a whole can of worms, doesn't it?
It does.
Could telepathic evidence ever be admissible in court?
That's a big question.
And how do we ensure accuracy and avoid bias?
Those are all ethical and legal questions that need to be considered.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope.
It is.
But the case itself is a captivating glimpse into the potential applications of telepathy,
Yeah.
even if those applications raise serious ethical and legal questions.
Absolutely. Now, to wrap up this leg of our journey,
Okay.
we need to look toward the future. And for that, we turn back to the work of Andrija Puharich.
Okay.
His research, particularly his experiences with Uri Geller,
Okay.
as detailed in his book URI, A Journal of the Mystery of Uri Geller, offers a glimpse into the future possibilities and implications of telepathy.
Uri Geller, the famous spoonbender.
The one and only.
What does he have to do with telepathy?
Well, Geller claimed to possess a range of psychic abilities,
Okay.
including telepathy,
Mm-hmm.
and his demonstrations captivated the world.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing those on TV.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Though they also sparked a lot of controversy.
Of course.
Some dismissed his feats as trickery, while others, including Puharich, believed his abilities were genuine.
So was he a magician, a psychic, or a bit of both?
That's the million-dollar question,
Yeah.
and there's still no definitive answer.
Mm.
But what's particularly intriguing is Puharich's theories about telepathy's potential role in communicating with extraterrestrial intelligence.
Whoa, communicating with aliens through telepathy.
Yeah.
Now we're talking.
It opens up a whole universe of possibilities, literally.
It does. It brings us back to that sense of wonder and possibility that telepathy evokes.
Right. Could it be a key to unlocking a deeper understanding of the universe and our place in it?
That's a question for all of us to ponder.
It is.
And it's one we'll continue to explore in the next part of our deep dive.
I can't wait.
Me neither. Okay, so we're back. And I'm still trying to wrap my head around all this telepathy stuff.
It's mind-boggling, isn't it?
It really is. But before we go too far into the cosmos, let's circle back to Mark Twain.
Okay.
We were talking about his experiences with those crossed letters.
Yeah.
Did he have any other encounters that made him think telepathy was real?
He did, actually.
Yeah.
One pretty chilling example is a dream he had
Okay.
that seemed to foretell his brother's death.
Whoa.
Yeah, he dreamed of his brother
Okay.
lying in a metallic coffin with a bouquet of white flowers on his chest,
Okay.
with a single red flower right in the center. And a few weeks later, he received news that his brother had passed away.
Oh, no.
And when he saw his brother's body,
Yeah.
it was laid out exactly as he had dreamed it,
Oh, my gosh.
right down to the bouquet of white flowers with that single red flower.
That's incredible.
It's a powerful story.
It is.
And it's worth noting that Twain himself was initially skeptical,
Okay.
even attributing it to coincidence. But the vividness of the dream and the accuracy of the details made it hard for him to dismiss it entirely.
I can imagine. It's like those moments when reality seems to bend and you catch a glimpse of something beyond our everyday understanding.
Exactly.
And maybe there's more to this world than we realize.
Right, and these precognitive experiences, like telepathy itself,
Yeah.
often pop up when we least expect them,
They do.
challenging our assumptions about time and perception.
It makes you wonder if these abilities are more common than we realize.
It does.
Like maybe they're lying dormant within us, waiting to be awakened.
It's a possibility that many researchers have explored.
It is. Okay, so we've talked about autistic savants and their seemingly innate gifts.
Right.
But what about the rest of us? Is telepathy something you're born with, or can it be learned like any other skill?
That's a great question, and one that has sparked a lot of debate.
Yeah, Ben.
To gain some insight, let's revisit the work of Dr. Dianne Powell, who we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Her extensive experience working with autistic savants, many of whom display remarkable psychic abilities, offers some valuable perspectives.
Okay, so what does she observe?
Well, she pointed out that telepathy seems to be particularly prevalent in individuals with autism.
Really?
Especially those with savant syndrome.
Okay.
It's as if their brains are wired differently, allowing them to access these abilities more readily.
So there could be a neurological basis for telepathy.
At least in some individuals.
Right. But that doesn't necessarily explain how it works, or whether those of us without savant syndrome can develop these abilities.
Exactly.
Did Dr. Powell notice any other patterns that might shed light on the origins of these abilities?
She observed that many of the savants she worked with had a deep connection to nature and animals.
Oh, interesting.
Suggesting a kind of heightened sensitivity to their surroundings and other living beings.
So it's not just about mind-to-mind communication, but maybe a broader interconnectedness with the world around them.
Exactly.
It's like they're walking through life with access to a hidden dimension of perception.
Yeah, and this brings to mind Puharich's concept of telepathic networks.
Oh, right.
Perhaps these savants, with their heightened sensitivity, are simply more attuned to these networks, allowing them to tap into information and energy that most of us are oblivious to.
Wow. That's both exciting and a little bit unsettling.
It is. It challenges us to reconsider our assumptions about the nature of reality.
It does.
And the limits of human perception.
For sure. Okay, so we've explored some fascinating anecdotal evidence and the theories of a few key researchers.
Yeah.
But let's journey back in time and delve into some of the early scientific efforts to understand telepathy.
Okay.
We've touched on William Walker Atkinson's work.
Yeah.
But there were other pioneers who offered their own unique perspective.
There were.
So who are some of these early researchers?
Well, one influential researcher was Whiteley Carrington, a British psychologist who conducted extensive experiments in the 1930s and 1940s. He was particularly interested in testing the limits of telepathy and exploring its potential mechanisms.
So he was really trying to figure out how it works.
Yeah, he wanted to move beyond anecdotes and personal experiences and into a more rigorous scientific approach.
So what kind of experiments did he conduct?
Well, he often used images as targets for telepathic transmission. He would show a group of people a specific image and then have another group located elsewhere. Attempt to draw the image that was being sent telepathically.
So he's looking for those shared impressions that transcended distance.
Exactly.
Did he find any evidence of telepathy in his experiments?
His findings suggested that certain types of images, particularly those with strong emotional or symbolic content, were more likely to be successfully transmitted telepathically.
That's interesting. It makes sense that images with emotional weight would have a stronger impact.
Yeah, it's like when you have a vivid dream, the ones with strong emotions are the ones you remember.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so Carrington's work helped to lay the foundation for more scientific investigations into telepathy.
It did, along with the work of other early researchers. They helped to move the field beyond mere speculation.
So it's a gradual process of building a body of evidence. Testing different theories and refining our understanding.
Exactly like putting together a giant jigsaw puzzle one piece at a time.
I like that analogy. It's a good way to think about it.
And it's important to remember that science is an ongoing journey of discovery. Not a destination with all the answers neatly packaged and delivered.
That's a great perspective. It keeps us open to new possibilities.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've been talking about telepathy in general.
Yeah.
But let's turn our attention to a particularly intriguing aspect of telepathy research. Precognition.
Ah, yes, the ability to perceive future events.
Yeah, to see into the future. Now, that's something that really bends my mind.
It's a concept that has both fascinated and challenged scientists and philosophers for centuries.
I bet. Is there any scientific evidence to support precognition, or is it just the stuff of science fiction?
Well, there have been some compelling experiments conducted in the field of parapsychology that suggest precognition might be a real phenomenon.
Really?
One notable researcher in this area was Dr. J.B. Rhine.
Right, we talked about him earlier.
Yeah.
With the Zener cards.
Exactly, in some of his experiments.
Yeah.
Rhine would have participants try to guess the order of the cards before they were shuffled and revealed.
Okay.
And in some cases, the participants scored significantly above chance.
Really?
Suggesting they were somehow accessing information about the future order of the cards.
So they were predicting the future, essentially.
That's one interpretation.
Wow.
And Ryan's findings,
Yeah.
along with those of other researchers,
Sure.
sparked a lot of interest in precognition.
Of course.
But also a fair amount of controversy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's a concept that challenges our conventional understanding of time and causality.
It does.
And it's not easily explained within the framework of classical physics.
Right. It makes you wonder if there are forces at play that we don't fully understand.
Yeah.
Perhaps operating beyond the constraints of linear time.
Exactly.
Like maybe time isn't as straightforward as we think it is.
It might be more fluid and flexible than we realize.
Yeah.
And precognition is one of those areas where science and spirituality seem to converge, raising profound questions about the nature of consciousness, the interconnectedness of all things, and the very fabric of reality.
It's mind-blowing to consider that our minds might be capable of transcending the boundaries of time and space.
It is. It makes you realize that we're just scratching the surface of what's possible.
Absolutely. It's an incredible journey of discovery, and we're only just beginning to explore it.
That's the exciting part.
It is. Okay, so last time we were talking about why telepathy, if it's real, is so elusive.
Yeah. Why don't we experience it more often?
Exactly.
Well, one theory is that our modern world,
Yeah.
with all its distractions and noise, has kind of drowned out the subtle signals of telepathy.
It's like trying to have a conversation in a crowded room.
Right.
It's hard to hear anything.
Exactly. And it's possible that our reliance on technology,
Yeah.
all the electromagnetic radiation from our devices, might be interfering with our ability to perceive these subtle signals.
So our smartphones are like telepathy blockers?
It's possible.
That's kind of ironic. It is. But are there other theories about why telepathy is so elusive?
There are some researchers suggest that telepathy might be a latent ability that needs certain conditions to be activated.
Like what?
Well, maybe certain states of consciousness, like deep meditation or hypnotic trance, could enhance our telepathic sensitivity.
So it's not that we lack the capacity for telepathy,
Right.
but we haven't learned how to access it.
Exactly. And then there's the theory that telepathy might be a rare gift, possessed by only a small percentage of the population.
It's like some people are born with perfect pitch and others can't carry a tune.
It's a good analogy.
Yeah.
And it's worth noting that many cultures throughout history have believed in the existence of individuals with special psychic abilities.
Right, like shamans or healers.
Exactly. They were often seen as having a deeper connection to the unseen realms.
Yeah.
And while modern science has often dismissed these beliefs as superstition, it's interesting to note that many of these cultures develop techniques for cultivating and harnessing psychic abilities.
So maybe there's something to be learned from these ancient traditions.
It's possible.
Yeah, it's definitely worth exploring.
It is.
Okay, but let's bring things back to the present.
Okay.
We've talked about the potential benefits of telepathy.
Right.
But what about the downsides?
Ah, yes, the dark side of telepathy.
Exactly. Like, if our minds are more open and accessible, then we realize what are the implications for privacy.
It's a crucial question.
Yeah.
If telepathy is real, it means our thoughts might not be as private as we think.
Right.
And this raises concerns about invasion of privacy, mind control, even psychic attacks.
Psychic attacks. That sounds a bit scary.
It can be. There are many accounts of individuals who claim to have experienced psychic attacks.
Really?
From subtle energetic drains to more overt attempts at mental manipulation.
That's pretty unsettling.
It is.
That's like the dark side of the force.
Yeah, it's a possibility we need to consider. And it underscores the importance of developing ethical guidelines.
Right.
As we explore telepathy, we need to make sure these abilities are used for good.
Yeah, like with any powerful technology, it all comes down to how we choose to use it.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about telepathy in humans.
Right.
But what about telepathy in other species?
Ah, that's an interesting question.
Yeah. Have there been any studies or observations of telepathy in animals?
Well, there's a lot of anecdotal evidence
Okay.
suggesting that telepathy might be quite common in the animal kingdom.
Really?
Yeah. Pet owners often report instances where their animals seem to anticipate their thoughts or actions.
Like when your dog knows you're about to take him for a walk.
Exactly.
Even before you've said anything.
Right?
It makes you wonder if animals have retained a sense of telepathic connection that humans have lost.
It's a fascinating possibility.
It is. Maybe telepathy is an ancient form of communication that predates language.
It's possible some researchers believe that telepathy might have been a primary mode of communication for early humans.
No.
And that it's still present within us, even if we're not aware of it.
Like a dormant instinct.
Yeah, waiting to be reawakened.
That's incredible. It really makes you rethink the whole nature of communication and consciousness.
It does.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into telepathy.
We have.
From anecdotal accounts to scientific experiments, from historical perspectives to future possibilities.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. As we wrap up this exploration, is there one key takeaway you'd like to leave our listeners with?
I think the most important thing is to keep an open mind.
I agree.
The world is full of mysteries.
It is.
And the human mind is perhaps the greatest mystery of all.
Absolutely.
Don't limit yourself by preconceived notions or dismiss things just because you can't explain them.
That's great advice. Curiosity and a sense of wonder are essential for any deep dive.
They are.
Whether it's into the mysteries of the mind or the vastness of the universe. So to our listeners out there, thanks for joining us on this incredible journey into the world of telepathy.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope it sparked your curiosity and inspired you to explore the uncharted territories of your own mind.
And if you've had any personal experiences with telepathy or other psychic phenomena, we'd love to hear about them.
Connect with us on social media and share your stories.
Let's keep the conversation going.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more mind-expanding deep dives.
We've got some great topics coming up.
We do. Ones that are sure to challenge your perceptions.
And leave you questioning everything you thought you knew.
Until next time, stay curious and keep those minds open.
See you on the next deep dive.